What's shaking, people? Back with another reaction, back with some more Duran Duran, and we're going back to their 2004 album Astronaut. Getting close to the end of this one, which is to say I'm sort of winding down the final three like proper albums, but again, so much more bonus material, so many more like B-sides and remixes, so plenty more Duran material coming, but it is an interesting thing that like I've been on this months-long journey, and it feels like in one way at least, I'm getting close to sort of like completing the journey. Now again, some of these songs I've only heard them a couple times, some of them a bit more because they made a big impression on me, but bottom line, I have months and years of sort of letting this material seep into my brain, but ultimately it's been a very enjoyable journey, even though there's again a lot more distance to go. So shout out to all of you who sort of served as my guides and informants, or not informants, that sounds like political intrigue, but my educators and my context providers. Bottom line, I really appreciate the people who found this channel through the Duran reactions, and indeed a number of you have showed up in different places, either other synth pop group reactions that I've started to do, more on that in a moment, but also someone like Ron showed up in sort of the J-drama music reactions I've done, and even some of the punk rock reactions. A number of you who follow the Duran reactions have showed up in like DJ mixes that I've done and said, hey, this was cool, and it makes me interested in some of this kind of music. So bottom line, shout out to all of you. I really do appreciate it. And indeed, I've obviously begun to react to a few other groups recently. Aha, starting Flock of Seagulls, Human League, but there's plenty more coming, including a group that a number of you have mentioned, starting with Izzy, was the first person to sort of bring them to my attention and suggest that they might be good to go through, in particular because one or two of their songs or albums have a sort of similar sort of DNA, a sonic DNA to some of the Arcadia material, and sort of you can hear connections to Duran both through Arcadia and again I think through some of the Japan material. And then in recent times, some other people, including Han Solo, have talked about Japan and said that it would be a good idea to go through their material. And once again, shout out to Izzy, shout out to Han Solo, and any others that have mentioned that. But I did want to say, Han Solo's given me access to a few like full albums, and Izzy gave me sort of a sampler and sort of gave a little context about what each track represents in terms of their overall material. So yeah, there's going to be some Japan reactions coming. Hopefully some of you will be here for it. But yeah, before we get there, we are on one of the final tunes of the Astronaut album, 2004, and the tune, make sure I have it right, is called Point of No Return. It's a title that is, I think, a little bit more clear than some others. It's a phrase that refers to a threshold past which one cannot recreate the prior state of affairs, even if one learns that making a decision in a certain way is actually not desirable, and at that point the only thing you want to do is just go back to the way things were before. Well, that may no longer be the case. So yeah, point of no return represents a branch point in history and in someone's experience, meaning it's the point past which one cannot go back. One is all in. The hat is over the wall, and sometimes if you're going to climb a wall and you throw your bag or your hat over, well, if you then decide not to go to the other side, well, the hat's over then you've made a dumb decision that you have to go through with it if you want to get your hat and so on. But I guess that's actually not the greatest analogy here, because you still have a choice of whether or not you want to climb the wall. But yeah, the idea of a point of no return is that you've crossed over a moment in time or a decisional situation such that you now have only the new state of affairs to deal with, and there's no going back. So yeah, it's essentially, I guess a better analogy would be, it's like taking the red pill in the Matrix movies. Once you've done that, you are in the point of no return. So yeah, we'll have to see how it manifests. It could be a more positive or negative thing, like you could commit to someone and it could be seen as like, you know what, I think you're great and I'm willing to put everything into this, all my eggs into this basket, I'm willing to go all in on this wager. But it could also be negative, and they're like, oh my gosh, like, I didn't realize, but now, like, it's too late, we're already on the train, like, we can't get off. So we'll have to see how it manifests, but let's get it. This is Duran Duran from the 2004 album Astronaut, and the tune is Point of No Return. Kind of like a nighttime soul sort of vibe. Almost like a bit of a 70s flavor.
The random aspects of our lives come together once in a while. So blinding and decidedly, naivety falls from our eyes, and we'll not regain as we watch the tower falling down. Maybe things can change, only if you want.
Or maybe not.
Maybe things can change, only if you want.
Syncopated, in between feeling there.
Avoiding the lesson to be the point of no return. You say, what if I can you live it? It's all that we deserve. It's all we deserve. The point of no return.
Hearing the bass.
Don't blame yourself, don't blame me, 'cause we're the ones who can feed the ground. So this poison tree don't grow again.
So the poison tree doesn't go grow again?
Glass and broken heart, there's a way that can be built, a better life for everyone. Maybe things can change, only if you want.
Sounds much bigger than just an interpersonal.
Maybe things can
It's talking about a better life for everyone.
only if you want.
Almost like feedback melody.
There's no avoiding the lesson to be learned. The point of no return. You say, what if I can you live it? It's all that we deserve. It's all we deserve. The point of no return.
I do love those kind of space ambient sort of synth layers. Sort of a mixture of a more like natural instrumentation sound and an electronic kind of, again, spacey sort of sound.
You know there's no avoiding the lesson to be learned.
There's no avoiding the lesson to be learned.
The point of no return. You say, what if I can you live it? It's all that we deserve. It's all we deserve. The point of no return.
You say all you need is love? Is that what he said?
You know there's no avoiding the lesson to be learned.
Again, people who know this channel know I have a complicated relationship with fade outs. I feel like that one felt a little less appropriate in that it came very suddenly, and it felt like the song still had a little bit more to go when it started to come in. So, yeah, like, I've learned to live with, to a greater degree, fade outs than I ever did before I started doing these reactions, but I do feel like that one felt a little bit sudden in terms of the onset. Yeah, gotta listen to this one again. There were a couple lyrics where like I'm intrigued by what I thought was suggested, but I'm not entirely sure if I heard it right. So, gotta listen to it some more. But again, it felt like the point of no return was either relating to humanity as a whole, or maybe kind of modern societies and so on. It felt bigger than like an interpersonal like threshold that was being passed. Just between one person and maybe a potential romantic partner or something. So. Yeah, let me know if you got an angle on that, or some insight, or point me to one or two of the lines that are particularly important. But either way, it's a cool tune. Yeah, as I said, I'm increasingly thinking about I'm getting close to having finished reacting to all of the regular albums. Although again, lots of bonus material to go, and yeah, I think some more again like B-sides and remixes certainly, and so on. So. Yeah, by far, we're not done with Duran, but again, I'm just thinking about the fact that, we've traveled some distance now in the last, 3 months or so. So yeah, big ups to all you once again. Do let me know what you think of this song. I will see you next time. Peace.